You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
How do you do, buckaroos, and welcome to Comics with My Kids podcast, the official podcast for the comicscornerbox.blogspot.com. I'm your host, Matt D, and with me today is...
Logan D.
Hey, Logan, we have a guest with us today. Can you tell us who is with us?
Well, today we have my good friend Kevin I.
Welcome back, Kevin.
Hello, glad to be here.
Hey, Dad, Kevin's here to talk about us with a cool book. Kevin, can you tell our audience and Dad what this is?
Investigator 7, All Tied Up, by John Patrick Green. It was released earlier this year, September 26th, to be exact.
Yep, so listeners, we're going to get a little spoilery. I don't know how to pronounce that.
That's right. It's spoilery.
Spoilery.
We're gonna have spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
We could just summarize that entire line to spoiler alert.
All right. Well, boys, since this is the 7th book in the series, can one of you give us a brief recap of the last book that leads into this?
The last book.
That was Braver and Bolder.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Oh, yeah. So if you want to hear the previous book, then go to the podcast that we had on the previous book.
Oh, nice.
We had a podcast on the previous book. They can.
Well, let's just a brief recap. So there's 2 alligators. They are called the Investigators. They have this whole book series. The last book, they went up against a former agent whose name was Crocodile, and he had other names too. A little help?
Crocodile. He's now what he was known as.
Okay.
And he was Radioactive Dow. What was his first name, Kevin? Do you know, before he fell into the pit of radioactive dough?
Darl.
Okay.
Darl. D-A-R-L.
And now here we are. We're in the 7th book. The Investigators just got done dealing with
Crocodile.
Crocodile.
Yeah, well, Crocodile, because Crocodile got turned into rocks and destroyed. Then the rocks got spilled on by radioactive goo. So then they reformed. They turned into Crocodile, and then he got zapped and he turned into this radioactive goo, so he had radioactive Dow. Then they destroyed him in the lake and burned up their robot.
All right. And now we're going into the 7th book. Kevin, can you tell us what happens in the opening of the 7th book?
There is a watermelon and a squash. They're sailors.
It's not a watermelon, it's a gourd.
Oh.
Because he's a life gourd instead of lifeguard, because he's a gourd.
Okay. And they see a floating raft with... I think he's a character from a previous book, but I can't be sure.
Is he what?
And he can't say... And I think he's a character and there's a person in a raft from a previous book. But I can't be sure.
That's not the beginning of this book. They saw the person in the raft in the last book, I thought.
Book 7, all tied up.
All tied up.
So they start off.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying, Logan. Because the guy in the raft is a captain of a sailing vessel.
And he has the willy-nillys.
Okay, so we open up, we got a squash and a gourd, and they're on a boat. They're the Coast Guard, and they come up against...
The Coast Guard.
Oh, sorry, they're the Coast Guard. They come up to a raft, and inside the raft is a captain of a sailing vessel, like a cruise ship. And then what happens, Kevin?
They take him, and I think he was a castaway that fell out of the ship or something like that. He was the
captain of the ship.
Oh.
So then what happens?
The ship disappeared, and all they found of the ship was the captain. And then when reporters tried to figure it out, the guy who was supposed to be associated with it, his name was Mr. Dollars, and he gave everybody, said, for $1 you can go on this cruise. And so all they had to do was forget about it and not ask him any more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why do you think he doesn't want anyone to ask him questions about the previous cruise?
I'm not sure.
Because he doesn't want to give away any secrets.
Okay.
He could be hiding something, but doesn't want anyone to know.
Ah. So how do the investigators get involved with this the ship captain and this Mr. Dollars? What's Mr. Dollars' full name anyway?
$1 billion.
Ah, nice. $1 billion.
$1 billion.
So how do the investigators get involved?
Well, there's this one guy who they work for, and while he was watching the news, he found out about it, and he had told the agents that they have to do something about it. So they get suited up and they go on the boat.
Okay, so Kevin, can you tell us how they get onto the boat? Like, what's the whole plan?
They hack. Anyone could just go on the boat if they just pay $1.
Okay.
So they just dress up as somebody who wanted to go on, and they paid $1.
Yeah.
Did they have the money on hand, or did they have to like requisition $1? How they pay for this trip?
They gave the guy at the door a bag of quarters, which Mango was saving for an arcade.
So if you guys had a choice between going to an arcade and spending all your quarters, or going on a cruise, all expense paid cruise for $1, which one would you pick?
Well, no, he planned on playing at the arcade on the cruise.
Oh. Well, still, question stands. Would you rather play at an arcade or go on a cruise?
An arcade.
Arcade.
Why would you want to ride around on a boat for hours on end?
Because you can do all kinds of things on the boat.
Like stare.
All right, so the investigators are on the boat, or I should say the cruise line. So then what happens? How do they start investigating? Kevin, you want to kind of pick up from there? Let us know. What did the investigators do on the ship?
They snoop around and try to figure out things.
Sorry, I'm not a good speed
okay.
reader.
But
so then, what do they get into as they're snooping around? What kind of things do they find?
Pirates invade the boat.
Oh yeah, what kind of pirates? What are they called?
I'm not sure.
Look it up in the book. You're the only one who has it.
I'm not sure, but salty piranha.
The salty piranha.
I think.
Oh, okay, cool. So that must be the ship, the name of the ship then. So what do these pirates do when they evade the cruise line?
They lock them in a room. Everyone in a room.
Now I do know that in the book, the $1 billion is on the ship, and he needs so many different. He needs so many people on the ship. Do you know why?
No.
How about you, Logan? Do you know why he wanted specifically a certain amount of people on the ship?
So, a long time ago, someone of his relatives had stolen a treasure, and the only way to pay back the treasure would be by giving them 1,000 souls.
Okay, and then who's collecting these souls?
The ghost, willy-nilly.
And that ghost, willy-nilly, who is he?
He's a good pirate.
Okay, so that's where the pirates come in?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So now willy-nilly's got the cruise line. What happened to Mr. Dallas?
He promotes the cat, who's a really smart cat. It can talk and walk and do all kinds of good things. Promotes the cat to the captain last second, because the captain has to go down with the boat. And then he hops into the escape pod and leaves.
Okay. So what about you, Kevin? What happens after Mr. Dallas leaves the ship? Can you tell us what happens after that?
They open their suitcases and few orbs snuck in there.
Who opens their suitcases?
Brash.
How'd Sea Orb get in the suitcase?
It doesn't say, but it says you can't spell suitcase without an I.
Nice. Yeah, because earlier in the book, didn't he say that he wanted to be part of the mission, but they told him he couldn't come?
But he was
Yeah.
in charge of packing the suitcases.
So he must have snuck himself in. All right, so now that they snuck back to their cabin, they opened up their suitcase, they found Sea Web. What do they have? What happens next?
They're disguised. Wait, they're trying to disguise as pirates.
Okay, how'd that turn out for them?
Fine.
Anything funny about how
Nothing
they're
real-
disguised?
Yeah. They look nothing like pirates.
Oh yeah, what do they look like?
They look like if they just put on a Halloween costume. It looks like a Halloween costume.
Of
Pirate.
Gotcha.
so they still do look like a pirate.
Have
More
you ever seen a beard marker?
okay, so it's more like a campy looking pirate. They don't look like
Yeah,
true pirates.
like a homemade pirate.
Gotcha. Okay, so how do they save the crew then?
They sneak on board the ship of. They sneak on board the Salty Piranha, and they stay undercover there for a while. And even Sea Orb is pretending to be one of them. And then Brash and Mango get kicked off the ship, and as they're like stranded in sea, they blow up a bunch of balloons and get on top of them as a raft. And then Brash tries to track where they are, but can't find it out. So Mango assumes that they're in the Bermuda Triangle, but he says it wrong. Bermuda.
Okay,
Bamooda.
got it. I see. Oh, I see. So Kevin, what happens next?
They see a shark and
And it starts circling them, right?
yes,
Now, can the shark talk, or is it like a regular shark?
it could talk and scream.
What does it say?
What? Where you are? I don't even know where I am.
So wait,
just-
you're missing a part. So Brash asks the shark, "Where are we?" And the shark says, "I don't know where you are. I don't even know where I am. I'm just aimlessly circling, going in circles."
Uh,
And then the shark runs off.
Do they run off or swim
Mhm.
off?
Same thing.
No.
Swimming's like running in water.
Gotcha. All right. So, how do they get out of the Bermuda Triangle and save the day, Kevin?
a pirate ship comes up and a character from the third book comes as a pirate, hook, line, and sinker.
Hook, line, and sinker. Isn't that the guy that was a plumber? And he has like
Yeah.
snake
both-
for an arm.
So this is a different ship than the Salty Piranha.
Yes.
Do you know what the ship's name is?
No, I don't know.
Do they mention it in the book?
Is it written on the side of the ship at all?
No, wait. Plum tart.
The plum tart. Maybe it's the tart plum.
No, it's plum tart.
Okay.
Is it PLUMB?
PLU.
Okay.
Yes, what you
Okay.
said.
Yeah, because plum is in plumber, because the snake guy
Oh.
was a plumber, and then you eat a
Mhm.
tart, and you could eat a plum tart, plum being the fruit. So it's a play on words, like with
Mhm.
everything that John Patrick Green writes in his book. All right, so does the plumber and them help save the day? I mean, how do we get from on that ship to solving the solving the crime.
Well, once they get on the
Uh,
ship, they ride around on the ship for a bit, and they come across a salty piranha, and I can't remember what happens next.
How about you, Kevin? Can you pick up from there and let us know what happens next?
Hook, line, and sinker tell the story of Willy Nilly.
Is that before or after they find the salty piranha?
Way after. I mean, that's before. It tells the story.
Okay, so what's the story behind the salty piranha and Willy Nilly?
There is a pirate named Willy Nilly, and he plundered P-L...
Plundered.
What?
You're right. It's plundered.
Yeah. Plundered a secret island. Its sacred treasures. Like all ill-begotten riches, it came with a hefty price. Nilly was cursed to pay back the debt with delivering with 1,000 souls to pass before the island in 300 years to pass. If he failed, he would disappear forever, so the tale goes away.
The money disappears forever, not him.
Oh.
So then is $1 billion a descendant of Willy Nilly?
Yes. I'm pretty sure that's what the N
Yeah.
stands for in his middle name. Right?
Willy?
$1
Nilly.
billion dollars.
Oh, gotcha. Bill and Nilly dollars. Okay.
And they had a people like a family tree, and one of the people on the family tree wall is W.M. Nillium.
Ah, okay. So
he'd be William Nillium,
William Nillium dollars.
aka Willy Nilly.
nice. Okay. So how does the book end then? What's the final conclusion to our tale of All Tied Up?
So
Actually, let's have Kevin wrap us up with it.
I mean, they go into a cave, and it's a volcano, and Mango kicks Willy Nilly into a quote unquote volcano, and he kicks everyone into a volcano.
who's the everyone?
Theo, Mango, Brash.
How do you kick Seaward? He's in the air.
He dived in after them.
Why did you jump into the volcano?
He's floating.
Exploding? Why did you jump into...
I said he's floating, not exploding.
He's floating. So Willy Nilly got kicked into the volcano by Mango, you said. But why did everybody else fall in the volcano?
He kicked them all in, except himself and Sea Orb. They jumped in and floated in. When they go down more, they find out it's a water slide, not a volcano.
Got it. Okay. Now, Logan, what were you saying?
Well, what you were missing about the story was that a very important part, Mango got distracted by something, separated from the group, and went around the back way of the volcano. And so when he had found the others, he had pushed them in. And what was at the end? What was at the end of the water slide?
A pool.
Well, there's a little more than a pool.
A pool and a party.
Well,
a pool party.
It's called a resort.
Oh.
So the pirates have been on a resort island and didn't even know it?
Well, it wasn't the pirates.
Okay.
Then Willy Nilly took off his costume, and it turns out that it was Billion's sidekick, or like his butler. And so the Willy Nilly ghost was a fake. Didn't actually exist.
No, yes, he does exist. The book. He does exist. when the actual volcano erupts, the actual ghost of willy-nilly appears, and he says the real treasure is the friends you made along the way.
Ah, nice. All right, well then that pretty much wraps up the story of the book. What did you guys think of the art style? I know that in the past you've said you liked John Patrick Green's art. How did it compare in this book?
It is way better. I like the island theme. I like it way better.
What about you, Logan?
I definitely.
I liked like the comic-y way that he had it, and I just liked the art style very much.
Okay. What was Kevin? I'm gonna ask you first. What was one of your favorite parts in the book?
Let me check. When at the beginning, when Mango calls and it's Scott Squash, and he thinks it's and Mango is answering the phone and he thinks it's Sasquatch. That's my favorite part.
Gotcha. What about you, Logan? What's one of your favorite parts?
My favorite part was when the shark was circling them and he said, "I'm just going in circles aimlessly."
Oh, okay. Personally, I like the parts where they're when they're trying to get around different spots of the city and they end up using the toilet system. So like they flush themselves everywhere. I think that's kind of clever.
Yeah, they use the sewer system to get around.
Rich, if you're ever familiar with the classic urban legends of alligators living in the streets or the sewers of New York, I think that's kind of funny. So, what do you think about the story in general, though, Kevin? Overall, do you think it was a pretty good story?
It's my favorite book out of the 7.
Okay. How about you, Logan? Where would you put this book?
I liked it a lot.
Okay. Well, we have. I don't think. Do you have anything else you want to add about the book, Kevin?
I like Mango's puns.
They are pretty fun.
What's some of the puns that he had in this book?
There is a dog, and he said, and he keeps asking them for $2, and Brash is finding them, and when he keeps yelling, "I want my $2," Mango said, "Quit hounding me," and it's funny because he looks like a greyhound.
Right. What about you, Logan? Was there any puns that you liked?
The only one I liked was I can't remember a lot of them, but I liked the Coast Gourd, and the guy's name was Scott the Gourd, but he calls himself Scott Gourd.
Okay.
Or no, Scott the Squash.
Okay.
Scott Squash.
So when he said Scott Squash to Mango, he thought he said Sasquatch.
Got it.
Because they sound alike.
Yes, they do. All right. Well, I don't have anything else to add to this book. So let's go ahead and let's give our usual rating. So it's buy, borrow, or bust. So Logan, we'll start with you first. Where would you put this book? Is it a buy, a borrow, or a bust?
A buy.
Okay. Why would you say it's a buy?
I like the storyline, and I definitely read it a few times.
Okay. What about you, Kevin? Buy, borrow, or bust?
Buy.
All right. So that's 2 buys. I'm in the borrow category, mainly because okay, I got it. If we lose the call, I'll have to sign us all back in. All right. So yeah, I would say to borrow because I don't see myself reading it over and over again, but it was a fun read, and I'm hoping that in the near future we can get John Patrick Green on as a guest to talk about his book series.
I thought we did that once already.
That was the other podcast.
Oh,
the one with Richard.
Yeah, I know what the other podcast is.
Okay.
It's just we haven't done something on that podcast for a while. I forgot about it.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's all we have for today. What about you, Kevin? Is there anything else?
No. Just, I think everyone should have this book.
Alrighty. Well, folks, thanks for listening to this episode of Comics My Kids podcast. Check out more episodes at thecomicscornerbox.blogspot.com.
Leave us a rating or review at Apple Podcast or Podchaser.
Follow us on Twitter for all of our episode and post news at Comics with My Kids.
With kids. There wasn't enough room to add the
Oh.
my. Also, check out our Facebook page, Comics with My Kids, and Instagram.
And you can email our show at comicsmykidspodcast@gmail.com, and we'll put your name in a drawing for free comics.
What type of comics are you giving away?
Well, family-friendly books from Free Comic Book Day and some of our own personal collection that we want to share with our audience. Thanks, and have a great night.
It's not even night when we're recording this.
All right.
It's not. Do you post these at night that you haven't say that?
No, I post them during the day.
Then why does it say night?
Hello, glad to be here. Something, anything. Was I
No,
supposed to say that?
You're not supposed to read what's in.
If it's in parentheses, it's you're welcome to say anything that you want. So,
Oh. Can you edit that part out?
yeah, we'll take care of that. Tell you what, why don't you go ahead and say hello one more time?